Good morning. I'm Rob Duncan. I'm the United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Kentucky. I'm pleased to be joined by representatives today of our law enforcement agency partners, Assistant Chief Ron Compton, the Lexington Police Department, Commander Brian Maynard with the Lexington Police Department, Fayette Commonwealth's Attorney Luana Redcorn, First Assistant County Attorney John Hain, Fayette County Sheriff Kathy Witt, Stewart Lowrey, ATF Special Agent in Charge, Louisville Field Division, James Robert Brown, FBI Special Agent in Charge, Louisville Field Division, Todd Keyline, DEA Resident Agent in Charge, Lexington Resident Office, Norman R Flack, the United States Marshal for the Eastern District of Kentucky, Major P.J. Burnett with the Kentucky State Police, District Supervisor Todd Gantz, and Assistant Supervisor Michelle Blakeman with the Kentucky Department of Corrections, and other law enforcement partners. I'm also pleased today to be joined by Lexington Mayor Linda Gorton, Public Safety Commissioner Ken Armstrong, Laura Hatfield, the coordinator of the One Lex initiative, and other leaders from city government. I thank each of you for being here today as we announce the results of coordinated efforts to reduce violent crime in Lexington as part of the Project Safe Neighborhoods program. Project Safe Neighborhoods is a nationwide initiative of the Department of Justice that brings together federal, state, and local law enforcement officials, prosecutors, and community leaders to identify the most pressing violent crime problems in a community and to develop comprehensive solutions to address them. The goal of PSN is to reduce violent crime and to make our communities safer. The heart of PSN is strong partnerships. Although PSN is a nationwide initiative, it is not a one-size-fits-all solution. It is focused on local needs, local resources, and local partners. In Lexington, our partnerships are strong, they are working, and we are making a difference. In early 2018, we announced our intention to make violent crime reduction a top priority for each of our respective agencies. Recently released data from the Lexington Police Department shows that violent crime decreased in Lexington by 13% in 2018 as compared to 2017. This decrease includes declines in homicide, down by 21%, assaults down by 11%, shootings down 23%, and shots fired calls, which decreased by 9%. I want to publicly thank the men and women of the Lexington Police Department for their outstanding work in helping reduce violent crime in the city. These statistics confirm that they are doing great work and that they deserve tremendous praise for the significant reductions. I also want to commend the efforts from the personnel of our other law enforcement agencies represented here today. Without their hard work and dedication, we would not be seeing these promising results. Daily, these brave officers, agents, investigators, deputies, and troopers put their lives at risk to enforce the law and keep us safe. I thank each of them for their service. We are proud to support their efforts and proud to stand with them as partners. A component of the PSN model is prioritized enforcement. We are focused on significant offenders, the trigger pullers who are using firearms to commit acts of violence, those individuals who unlawfully possess firearms, and those who traffic in deadly drugs. My office is committed to using all the tools and resources available to us in an effort to rid Lexington of its most violent and dangerous offenders. In January 2018, we formed one of the centerpieces of our partnership, the Fayette County Violent Crime Task Force. The task force is a multi-agency group comprised of many federal, state, and local law enforcement and partners. Its goal is to investigate and prosecute violent offenders and significant drug traffickers, and to ultimately hold them accountable for their criminal actions. The task force has fostered consistent and effective collaboration among the various law enforcement agencies and prosecutors' offices represented here today. The task force meets regularly to share information, to discuss cases and investigations, and to coordinate efforts. As a result of our excellent partnerships, investigators and prosecutors work together, side by side, focus on the goal of reducing violent crime in Lexington. Through the efforts of the task force, we have helped remove approximately 50 illegal firearms from the streets, seized distribution quantities of the deadly drugs fentanyl, heroin, methamphetamine, and cocaine, and sought forfeiture of nearly $200,000 in proceeds of illegal activities. As a result of the hard work of the task force members, 88 defendants, 44 in state court, 44 in federal court, have been or are being prosecuted. Prosecuting and punishing these individuals has made Lexington safer. Another piece of our enforcement efforts was the joint participation in Operation Triple Beam Bourbon Trail, a 3-month enforcement effort led by the U.S. Marshal Service in partnership with the Kentucky State Police, Immigration Customs Enforcement, and the Lexington Police Department. The initiative was aimed at locating and arresting violent offenders. As a result of Operation Triple Beam, law enforcement arrested 132 defendants and recovered 37 firearms. Now, these numbers are encouraging, but we cannot be complacent. We intend to do more. That is what PSN is about, working in partnership to reduce violent crime and make our communities safer. Another important component of PSN is prevention. We all recognize that enforcement alone is not enough, and sustained success requires a comprehensive approach. In addition to enforcement efforts aimed at removing the most violent offenders from our streets, law enforcement personnel have engaged in community outreach and education. The partnership with the city's One Lexington initiative has resulted in the sharing of useful information with offenders re-entering the community, including information about the city and community resources available to them, such as library services, mental health services, and potential employment opportunities. We hope that offenders will take advantage of these services and break the cycle of recidivism. As a United States Attorney, I am committed to working with our partners to drive down violent crime even further. Our partnerships are working. They are generating progress in the fight against violent crime. They are also strong, but stronger still is our collective resolve to continue this promising work. Through our partnerships, we can and we will continue to make meaningful impact. I'd now like to ask Mayor Gordon to make a few remarks. We'll take questions at the end. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good morning. First, on behalf of the citizens of Fayette County, I want to thank all of you for working together as a criminal justice community to make our city and our citizens safer. In 2018, we had the lowest Part 1 crime rate we've had in the past 6 years. These are the serious crimes like murder, rape, robbery, and we are really, I don't want to say excited, but we're very happy that these serious crimes are down. Our violent crime rate dropped 13%, as you heard, in 2018 when compared to 2017. Those are solid accomplishments, clear indicators that we're moving in the right direction. And we are so happy that they are declining, and we know there's more work to do. We can never forget that those who have been personally affected by violence in our community often look at a different set of numbers. The homeowner who's been a victim of a drive-by shooting may count the number of bullet holes in their home or their car. Families that have lost a loved one may think of the number of birthdays or holidays their loved one misses. As mayor, all of these numbers matter. All of these people are important to me, and I am sure they're important to everyone here. I want to thank the folks who've been involved for the work you do every day. Thanks to your teamwork on the Violent Crime Task Force, Lexington is one of the safest cities of its size in our country. We need to keep that in perspective. And our citizens appreciate everything that you all do, And so do I. Thank you very much for your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd now like to ask Lexington Police Assistant Chief Ron Compton to make a few remarks.
Good morning. Thank you all for coming today. The first thing I'd like to say is the police department in Lexington is committed to these partnerships. We couldn't do the job that we do without the help of everyone here. Ultimately, we all have different roles in this, but the ultimate goal is to make our community the safest that it possibly can be, the community we live in, we work in, we raise our families in. And that's the whole purpose behind what we do every day, is to try to keep this as safe as possibly can and support everybody that supports us as much as we can. We are dedicated and committed to this partnership as it continues, and we provide all the resources that we possibly can to make sure it succeeds. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Compton. I'd now like to ask Special Agent in Charge Lowrey to make a few remarks.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you to U.S. Attorney Rob Duncan and the other leaders here who we serve as our law enforcement partners. I'm Stewart Lowrey, Special Agent in Charge for ATF Louisville Division, which covers Kentucky and most of West Virginia. ATF's primary mission is to reduce violent crime, and today we take great pride in being no better partner to the law enforcement agencies across the Commonwealth and here in Lexington, many of which are represented here today. During the past year, as you've heard, ATF and these partners investigated illegal sources of crime guns and persons who illegally use these guns to commit violent crimes in the area. Together, we've pursued traffickers and trigger pullers and made significant arrests. We talked about the number of people that have been recommended for state and federal prosecution. Investigations involving ATF included over 70 persons, and that group collectively had more than 550 prior arrests. So I think you can see that we're targeting some of the worst and the people that are actually doing the violent crime in the Lexington metro area. Last year, we promised an investment of our resources to Fayette County Violent Crime Task Force, and together, we've been instrumental in bringing crime gun intelligence, including new ballistic technology, to disrupt the shooting cycle through the NIBIN program hosted by Lexington PD. By connecting these dots, we've helped identify shooters and help solve crimes. As you can see, law enforcement is a team sport, and we have a lot of good players on this team, and we're happy to be part of this team as we continue to make Lexington safer for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Special Agent in Charge Lowrey. I now invite Special Agent in Charge Brown to make remarks.
Thank you, U.S. Attorney Rob Duncan. Good morning. My name is Robert Brown. I'm the new Special Agent in Charge of the FBI covering Kentucky. I'm still relatively new, but one thing I have learned very quickly is we have strong law enforcement partners covering the Commonwealth. While the FBI must also focus on national security threats in Kentucky, I've prioritized working together with our partners to reduce violent crime. This includes preventing mass shootings, deterring violent gangs, and stopping Mexican cartels. I'd like to give a special thanks to Lexington Chief Lawrence Weathers, who isn't here today, Sheriff Kathy Witt from Fayette County Sheriff's Office, and Luann Corn, the Commonwealth Attorney. And I was, excuse me.
Red corn.
Red Corn, excuse me.
You're new.
That's right. That's my one ally. And Kentucky State Police Commissioner Rick Sanders, who's a great partner. We can't give up, though. I can say, based on intelligence that I've read and seen, Mexican cartels remain the greatest criminal threat to the United States and Kentucky, smuggling in significant quantities of heroin, methamphetamine, fentanyl, cocaine into the Commonwealth. I'm confident that they've established pipelines to supply gangs in Kentucky. The Department of Justice agencies here today stand ready to support our partners. Law enforcement working together with the communities we serve is the only way for a solution. Lastly, the successes you are hearing about today and the reduced violent crime numbers would not have been possible were it not for the hard work of the Assistant United States Attorney Prosecutors in the United States Attorney's Office, Eastern District of Kentucky, and the Commonwealth Attorneys in Fayette County. It has been refreshing to see their dedication, focus, and passion for keeping the Commonwealth safe. Thank you.
Now I'd like to ask DEA Resident Agent in Charge, Keyline, to make remarks.
Get to a certain age where you got to put these on, so. Good morning. As Mr. Duncan has stated, my name is Todd Keyline. I'm the resident agent in charge with the Drug Enforcement Administration here in Lexington, Kentucky. On behalf of Special Agent in charge of the Louisville Field Division, Mr. Chris Evans, sir, I'd like to thank you for your coordinating this the event, and for you and your office's constant drive to progress not only the Project Safe Neighborhood initiative, but all of our investigations targeting the most dangerous individuals within the community and throughout the Eastern District of Kentucky. Additionally, I would like to thank all of our federal, local, and state counterparts for their continued collaboration in strengthening the PSN initiative. And I will keep this short and simply say that the DEA is committed to protecting this community and others from drug traffickers and violence through the PSN, the Synthetic Opioid Surge or SOS initiative, and other numerous enforcement and pharmaceutical investigations. Thank you.
Now I'd like to ask Marshal R Flack to make remarks.
Good morning. I'm Norman R Flack, United States Marshal for Eastern District of Kentucky. And I'd like to thank Attorney Duncan for allowing us to be here today and be a part of this process. The Marshal Service has a myriad of responsibilities, but this morning I'd like to focus on one that he specifically pointed out, and that's Operation Triple Beam. Operation Triple Beam is a multi-agency violent crime reduction initiative which partners federal, state, local law enforcement and are focused on determining reduce violent crime and take dangerous offenders off the street. OTB model focused on three main areas: fugitive investigations, targeted gun and drug investigations, proactive and targeted street investigation and patrol. The overarching goal of Operation Triple Beam is to bring relief to the residents of a community by strategically and actively pursuing the gang members and criminals most responsible for the worst crimes and violence in the community. When the Eastern District of Kentucky, we are extremely grateful for the support we have received from local authorities, Kentucky State Police, U.S. Attorney's Office, local prosecutors, the local court system, Lexington Police Department, the Office of Probation and Parole, and they are responsible for assisting us in making this one of the most successful Triple Beam operations in the nation. You already heard the results of this operation as stated by the U.S. Attorney, and we could not have done that without these valuable partners. I'm certain that the initiative made great strides in providing a safer environment for the citizens of Fayette County and surrounding counties. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. I now invite any of our other law enforcement agency representatives that have not made comments, if they'd like to do so at this time. Seeing none, we'd be happy to entertain a few questions.